We really need to stop meeting like this. Ugh. I swear, this aloe water, I pay their bills because I promote it. Sometimes when I'm just in Lidl, to the security man, when he's looking a bit dry. Shut up! Hello! I'm coming at you with a blow dry. Hope you're all doing well. Today's video is going to be the second episode of my All About series, and this is all about contouring. When I tell you, when I open up my DMs, I reckon 80% of the messages are asking me how to contour all the time. And it's hard, I guess it. So that is what today's video is going to be. Same as with the last 101 kind of all about series that I did, I am going to leave the timestamps down below, and it's going to be split up into 3 separate parts. So part 1 is going to be face shapes, and it's potentially one of the most important parts of contouring if you want to do it the good. Part 2 is going to be cream contouring, and then part 3 is going to be powder contouring, where I will become skinny. But before I do any of that, I want to give you a quick introduction into the world of contouring if you are completely new. To be honest, even if you think you know nothing about contouring, I can almost guarantee that every Susan with 4 kids takes a brush like this when she's going on a night out and goes like that. And that is just the beginning of contouring. When you're putting bronzer on your cheeks, bronzer on your forehead, or a bit underneath your chin, you are contouring, but there is a little bit more technical information that we can provide to it, where you can do it a bit more in a way that complements your face. So the whole theory of contouring is shade and light. We want to be sending back the parts of our face that are in the dark, and we want to be bringing forward the parts that are in the light. And in essence, what it does is make you skinny. So it's going to really define everything on your face. It's going to define your cheeks, define your forehead, define your jawline. If you contour your nose, it's going to define your nose. So it's very correctional. It definitely helps to even out the balance of your skin in different areas, but it's mainly based on face shape, which is what I'm going to get into right now. So, face shapes. Oh, there are plenty. What I'm going to do, which is quite funny, is I'm going to actually shadow my face so that you can see a good example of what each different face shape would look like. So we're going to start with the ovals. We hate the ovals. No, I'm just kidding. We don't hate the ovals. We're jealous of the ovals. Okay, I've just made my face oval. So the definable features about an oval face shape is that there is no kind of imbalance. Their forehead and their jawline and chin are both equally narrow. Their cheekbones don't come out particularly far, and they certainly don't come out at the confines of their forehead and their chin. Everything just kind of goes down in a perfect oval shape. The oval face is also definable by being longer than it is wide. So the face will be taller rather than fatter. But I do want to make a massive point to say that your weight, or the chubbiness of your face, is completely a different story to your actual face shape. Obviously weight gain or weight loss can alter your face shape, but your shape is about where your hairline sits, where your bones are, how far your cheekbones come out, or how your jawline is. But yes, this is your kind of standard oval face shape. Now, what I thought might be helpful was to add in a little picture per face shape of a celebrity that you may know that has that face shape. And just to kind of further punch you in the face about the fact you don't have an oval face shape, my model for this is Beyonce. And that's all I have to say on the matter. I'm going to move on. Oh, for goodness sake. Okay, then we have our round face shape. Chin strap realness for me. So the round face shape is probably the biggest misconception out of all of them, because everyone thinks if they're chubby that they have a round face, and it just isn't the case. A round face shape can be defined by being the same width downwards as it is wide. So it's literally like a circular shape. Also, one key feature is that the jawline is rounded as opposed to being angular. So you know, you see some of those people that you could actually cut a slab of butter with their jawline. The round face shape doesn't have that. It has a far more smooth line going from the ears downwards into the chin. You will find that the chin isn't necessarily prominent, but it definitely isn't pointed either. Everything just kind of has a lovely smooth curve to it on a round face shape. And the celebrity who models this beautifully, who I very much look like at this moment in time, is Miss Chrissy Teigen. And I'll have you know, Chrissy Teigen is not chubby. So stop saying that you've got a round face just because you're chubby. I've had enough of it. I just look stupid. But I hope this helped you. Okay, next up is the square head shape, which is kind of self-explanatory. So I'd say the most important thing about the square head shape is that we have ourselves a really prominent jawline, but also a very prominent forehead. So they're going to come out the exact same width, and the cheekbones are never going to come out further than the chin or the forehead. There's a lot of angles in a square face, but also the chin tends to be a lot shorter, and the jawline, they're these types of people that they look like they're doing that all the time because their jawline is so perfect, and that's because their face is actually a lot shorter, not as angular, and very, very straight lines. Also, in the same way as a round shaped face, our square headed individuals are going to be, their faces are going to be as long as they are wide. So everything is very symmetrical on a square face in terms of the shape. And our celebrity square head is Ms. Angelina Jolie. So stop complaining about your square heads, please. So the next one's pretty easy for me. That is the diamond shaped face, and that is the category that my face falls into, kind of alongside another one quite closely. But yeah, my face is kind of a traditional diamond shape. It's just chubby. And the defining features of a diamond shaped face would be that the face is longer than it is wide. So you see my face is narrower this way than it is long. And also you're going to have a small forehead, a small chin that comes to a point. Like you see when I smile, I get an actual point. But a lot of the volume of the face is held in the cheeks and the cheekbones. So my cheeks are very kind of prominent. They're very, you know, I've got a lot of cheekbone and cheek going on, but I've got a very narrow forehead and a very narrow chin. I've got a double chin as well, but that's a whole different game. And of course I would be in the category of such folk as Jennifer Lopez. As you can tell, I'd say we look pretty similar. Okay, next up we have the pear-shaped face. I actually did struggle to find celebrities that had pear-shaped faces, but the defining points of this face shape are that you have a very narrow forehead in comparison to your jawline. The face kind of tapers inwards towards the forehead. You'll usually find that the jaw and chin are quite prominent, and they tend to kind of round off a little bit. The other defining feature would be that the face is longer than it is wide, but the face is at its widest around the jawline. So usually people with pear-shaped faces have quite nice jawlines and then very narrow foreheads on top. So my celebrity pear-shaped face is Kelly Osbourne. She was probably the most prominent pear-shaped face that I could find. So you can really tell that she's got that narrow forehead and that really wide jawline on the bottom. My mum just came in, looked at me very questionably, and then exited the room. And the very last and final face shape we're going to look at is the heart-shaped face. So again, the defining features of this face is that it's longer than it is wide. In fact, the heart-shaped face is one of the narrowest width-wise compared to all of the other face shapes. Also, one of the key characteristics of this face shape is that our chin is very, very pointed and very, very narrow, and then we continue to be narrow up the face, and then the top of the head is ever so slightly wider than the bottom. It's not necessarily drastic, but the forehead is always going to be the widest point of the face, and then we really taper down to a very pointed chin at the bottom. So that would kind of be the defining features of a heart-shaped face. Common misconception on this is people think if they've got a widow's peak, which is like that little bit where some people get of their hair that comes into a little point, they think that means they've got a heart-shaped face. Incorrect. It's all to do with the face shape as opposed to how your hair sits. But for this particular face shape, your cheekbones can actually come out further than your chin, but they won't come out further than your forehead. So you may have very, very prominent cheekbones as someone with a heart-shaped face, but your forehead is just going to have that kind of larger and rounded appearance. And our celebrity lookalike is Naomi Campbell. So again, you're pretty fire no matter what. So those are all of the different face shapes. You may have certain aspects of one and certain aspects of the other. Some aspects completely overlap. You can genuinely tell what face shape you have most of the time, and there's plenty of resources online where you can go on, take a quiz or two, answer some questions about your face, and then they can respond and tell you what your face shape is. So that was all of the different face shapes I'm going to go over. We had the oval, the round, the square, the diamond, the pear-shaped and the heart-shaped face. And now we're going to move on to how we contour faces. So let's get into part 2, which is cream contouring. I'm going to start by applying a base layer of foundation onto my face. If you would like tips on how to apply your foundation beautifully, perfectly and flawlessly, then make sure to check out the first episode of my All About series where I go over everything to do with foundation and base product. Let's get into the cream contouring. So I like to start with the contour shades and then do the highlight shades after. Another thing is there is always a massive debate on putting your cream contours on before your foundation or putting your foundation on and then your cream contours. I always do it after because I am a fake bitch. So I like to put it on after because it looks more intense. If I put it on before, then my foundation is going to smooth it out even more and make it look a lot more natural. So I always use these Bobbi Brown concealer palettes. I know they're not cheap, but they are really, really good. And because I'm a makeup artist, I need all the different shades for different skin types. But there are plenty of other products that you can use. My sister loves the LA Girl Pro Concealer, which is like £4, and she uses that to cream contour like every single day. What you want is a concealer that isn't so fast drying. You're gonna need a little bit of time to start blending it out. So you don't want something that as soon as it hits your skin, it's gonna turn matte and then you've got these weird little lines all over your whole face. You want something that is a little bit more malleable than that, so that you've got time and you don't have to stress about it. But to cream contour, I use a little angled eyeshadow brush. This is the Morphe E62. And I'm gonna take a slightly more warm contour shade than what potentially most people would take. I like to bronzer more so than contour, so I would take a bronzy contour shade as opposed to like a grey tone, because I just think grey tones are horrible. I just think they're horrible. But I'm going in with that brush with the shades Almond and Chestnut from the Bobbi Brown Creamy Concealers. And now in terms of placement of contour, move your hair to behind your ear, and the place that you need to focus on is making a diagonal from the top of your ear downwards towards the side of your mouth. Now never swipe your contour on, just in case the contour does dry and then you're not able to blend out that stark line. If I apply my contour in tiny little circles, it's gonna be far easier to blend out. Don't come in any further than when you're looking straight forward and where your iris is, the pupil of your eye and your iris. Don't come down any further than that, because otherwise you look like you've got a beard and that's ugly. So again, depending on what face shape you have will depend on where your cheekbone is, but it's all the same principle. Some people do that and then they try and find their cheekbone, but I don't understand that because it doesn't make any shadow in your face, so I don't get it at all. Because if I did that, that's telling me that to put my contour down there. What? Then just take your sponge and very gently pat over this area. And when you're starting out, add in little bits of contour at a time and then blend it out, and then add in a bit more and then blend it out, because it's really easy to add product but it's really hard to take it away. But as you can see, that's just slim the face down ever so slightly, and then when we go in and reinforce that with the powder, it's going to emphasize it even more. But this is just kind of like a base layer, start looking skinny. Now around the forehead, because I have a diamond shaped face, I naturally have a narrow forehead, so I'm not going to go in and put too much around the forehead, but I am, just to carry on the kind of colour story, I'm going to pat a little bit just around the very edge and then blend that out with my sponge. Rihanna always goes on about, Rihanna the celebrity, not as in like my mate Rihanna, always goes on about doing a free shape around the side of your face, so up around your forehead, down your cheekbone and then back around your jawline, and that's kind of a good start to figuring out contouring. And then we're going to bring that same thing around the jawline. So for my face shape, I'm going to pull it down from the side of the ear, but again make sure to look up your face shape, and it just takes off that little bit of extra chub that I've got going on down there, and then blend it out. Okay, so hopefully you can see all that contour is done, and just add a little bit of definition into those areas that were sunken back a little bit. This is only half the game, because we're going to go and add in the lights in a second, which are going to keep changing the shapes, but it just kind of slims everything down and adds in a bit of that definition that you wiped away when you put the foundation on. And then the last thing, just because now that we've got a lot of dark around the outside of the face, we need to add a little bit of that colour back into the centre of the face. I'm not big on contouring the nose, but there is a video on my IGTV story if you want to see how to do that. But I'm just going to take that exact same colour. For my nose shape, I like to take it just on the bottom a little bit, and then I'll just roughly blend that out with my sponge, and this just kind of helps to make the nose look like it's not just there glaring at you. I'm going to take the Collection Lasting Perfection concealer for this. This is the shade 1 Rose Porcelain, which is really, really light for my skin. And I'm going to take that underneath the eye, just a little bit, a bit on the forehead, a bit on the chin, the upper lip, and on the bridge of the nose as well. Now, if you've gone a bit ham on the cheeks as well and you think your contours come down a little bit low, you can add in a couple of dots of concealer underneath your cream contour as well, and that will make everything look a little bit more dramatic. And then in the exact same way that we just did, go in and start blending that out with your sponge, always tapping. When I blend in cream contour shades as well, I like to start with the middle of the face and sort of work my way up. So I'll do my chin, my upper lip, then my nose, and then my forehead, and then carry that on through to my under eyes. And if you've got Chanel bags under your eyes like I have, then if you leave the concealer on, it will help cover those a bit better. And then go in under your eyes last of all. And I like to start with the bottom part towards the cheekbone first, get blending that. And like I said earlier, I'll start blending that up towards my temple so that it gives a bit of lift to the face and it gives it a bit more of an angle. Okay, so that is it for the cream contouring. The only problem with cream contour is that if you just left it like this, then it would be more likely to slide off your face. So if you're going to cream contour, then you have to go in and powder contour afterwards. But if you want to just powder contour, you can do that. So it is up to you, but part 3 now is going to be specifically on the powder contour. So what you're going to want to do this is a angled brush. This is the Morphe M405. And the reason you want it angled is because it's going to fit directly into your cheekbone so that you can emphasise those areas. Now, I don't know how many times I have to say it, but I use orange eyeshadow. So I'm going to take Try Me from the Patricia Bright eyeshadow palette, and using patting motions, I'm literally going to go over everything that I just did with the cream contour. So if you're only using powder contour, do the exact same steps that we did for the cream, but just use powders and use a patting motion with an angled brush. If you've done cream contour, make sure to go back in and reinforce it with a powder bronzer or contour shade in all of the areas, and then a little bit of loose powder on the whites as well. Also, in terms of a face that I make, I've had the mick taken out of me, but I don't do the fish face, don't like it. I do like this face, and it seems to just make your cheekbones really pop, and then you kind of know where to put that contour shade. Don't forget your schnoz. Now we've set the cream contour areas, we need to set the cream highlight areas. So I'm just going to take the Bobbi Brown pressed powder in Pale Yellow. I'm taking a very small amount of that on my Morphe E48. And I'm literally just going to pat that underneath the eyes very, very gently. Not a lot of powder, no baking, stop baking. I think people actually forget that the highlight part of contouring is a part of contouring, because actually, before I put those lights in, my face didn't look as different, but now it's completely different. And there we have it. A skinny legend! So that is how I cream and powder contour my face. I hope this video helped you. I hope you can now go away and identify what kind of face shape you have and start implementing some of these tips on your contouring routine. So this was my contouring episode of my All About series. I hope it helped, and if you want to see more, then feel free to subscribe to my channel, because I'm going to be doing one of these each week on each different area of the makeup routine. Contouring is not exclusively on the face. Contouring is massively implemented in your eyeshadow as well. So that will all be covered in my All About Eyes video, which will be coming up soon. But for the meantime, that's it from me. Make sure to like this video if you liked it, and to comment anything that you want to see from me below, because I make Wednesday videos as well, which are like talky, funner tutorials. So without further ado, go and look skinny. See you all next time. Bye bye.